Hello, hello, hello. Anybody hear me? And I can't hear you. Talk about technical problems. I'm not getting you.
So apparently...
There you are.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
So I was doing all that
Hello,
talking,
everybody. Like, I just have some seriously technical problems up in.
but I was doing all that talking and nobody was hearing me. My mouth was just moving and no one was hearing me. So I'm gonna have to say it all over again. Right, thank you, Petal Blossom. I'm gonna have to do it all over again, guys. So we have been on here for a little while, experiencing difficulties on my brother's side and on my side. I thought I was coming through loud and clear, but apparently I wasn't at all. And Gary came and told me that nobody could hear me. So welcome. Please share with your friends, share with your family. We are going to get cracking on with this subject shortly after experiencing difficulties. When you go and watch the replay, you'll see me just mouthing stuff and not actually coming through. Can you hear me loud and clear, Paul?
Yeah, I can hear you. I've got a delay, so please, again, this week, my mouth is moving after when I've said what I have to say. So please bear with us. I now feel like I want to just get a stronger internet at my house, but I'm outside in the country life, and this is where I'm supposed to get a good signal, but evidently not.
Evidently not. So for those who are joining us online, please say where you are chiming in from. It'll be good to know who is actually joining us. There's a few of you on today, and hopefully some more of you will come on a bit later. So let us know where you are chiming in from. Let us know that you are there. Maybe your name, come on.
And remember, you can leave comments anytime as well.
Is there for. Sorry?
Yeah. No, I'm saying, and that, they can, everybody can leave a comment or ask a question in the chat as well.
Yeah. Absolutely. So let's do the housekeeping.
Okay. So from my perspective, on my side, because Debbie will be saying hers as well, is that we have experienced a lot in our life, and we've come to share the wealth of knowledge of good, bad, and ugly with you all, in the hope that it will encourage, empower, and get you to look at things from a different perspective, that the possibility that it can help your relationships. We're experts in our experience. You can try it. Don't cut our necks if it doesn't work, but hopefully what we'll give you is a wealth of understanding different situations and scenarios. So we will do our best to always give you the truth of the facts. And that's really what I want to say. So, I take what Debbie said. We're experts in our experience, doctors and professors in where we've been. So please don't hold us from sin. All right.
Thanks for sharing that, Paul. So every single week when we come on, we do our disclaimers, because there are some people that are out there that is in this whole social media land where they're just like, oh, well, you're not an expert. Well, live my life and you will see that I am actually an expert in what I have experienced. What I've experienced, I absolutely share. I say there are things that I don't know, but what I do know, I will share with you. And I hope that will bring wealth of knowledge, that it will bring inspiration, that it will encourage you, that it will uplift you, that it will empower you, all of that, because ultimately we're here to share with you. It's gym time, it's get your motivation. It's really here to help you on your journey in relationships. And even though we are talking about love, and we're talking about marriage, and we're talking about dating and all these things, some of these things that we actually share, they're principles. So they can be applied to so many different areas of your life. Even if it's a work colleague, even if it's your boss, there are certain principles that you can use just in everyday life. So we are going to get cracking. So Paul, tell them what the subject is today. Hi, Faye.
Friends with the opposite sex. Yeah. Can this work in your relationships, or relationship? And when we talk about friends with the opposite sex, we're going to cover friends and benefits and things like that as well, because some people see it like that. But we will I think me and Debbie, we agree certain areas and we disagree in certain areas here. And that's the wonderful thing about having different perspectives. You don't have to agree with everything, but you're able to see, you know, things from different angles.
Absolutely. So because your mouth is like delayed, I don't know exactly when you've actually stopped because your mouth is still going.
I will say stop. I'll say something then, okay?
They stop after or something, because I see your mouth moving and it's just quiet for a little while. I'm like, oh, okay, he's finished. So yeah, so having friends with the opposite sex, can this work in your relationship? So one of the things that me and Paul agreed with when we was actually discussing this and actually coming up with the subject, Paul actually came up with this subject this week, which I thought was a really good subject for us to cover, because both of us have experienced this in our relationships. And what we both agreed with is that it's people's personal opinion whether they can have friends of the opposite sex within their relationship. You guys tell me what you actually think. Listening intently, looking forward to the conversation is Drunky. So you guys put in the chat what your opinion is, because for me, I basically think it can work, but it depends on whether it can work within your personal relationship. So it's not one size fits all, because there are certain dynamics in people's relationship where this will not work. So for instance, if your partner who you are currently with, husband, whether this is, you know, your partner that you've been living with for some time, or even a new partner, and they've got friends with the opposite sex, is that something that grates against you? Is it something that doesn't sit right with you? And what are the reasons behind it? So for me, I'm a really introspective person. And when something doesn't sit right with me, I track it back. So in the Bible, there is a first point of reference. So anything that is said the very first time, that is what you're meant to live your life and your principles on. Now, what I do, I actually try and find out, when did this first incident happen and when did this make me feel like this? Why do I actually feel the way that I do? And I go back and I try and find out what the root of that feeling is. Now, for me, that has brought insecurity into my life, because when that situation happened with a friend, a female friend in my life, that female friend ended up being the ex of the guy that I was actually seeing. So it made me feel insecure. So does that mean that because that happened then, I couldn't have grown and couldn't have matured and insecurities and all the rest of it? No, but it's a trigger. It's a trigger. And so when there are things that are triggers and things that don't sit well with you, you should have that conversation with your partner. You should be able to sit down and say, you know what, when this happens, it doesn't sit well with me. Does that mean that they're not allowed to have female friends or male friends? No, but it depends on how far you're going to take that friendship. And is that friendship our friendship? Like, this is another thing that we was talking about, having a female friend or a male friend that is exclusively your friend, and they don't know you haven't introduced that person to your partner. I think that's a red flag. What do you think, Paul?
You're teething all my material, man.
No, listen, I'm speaking my stuff.
I had all this conversation with Debbie. I got nothing to say now.
We just agree then.
No, cool. You know, I'm playing. I'm going to still talk, so I know my mouth is still moving. So, no, you know, I think everything that you said is true, because there are dynamics to it. I think that, you know, there are some friends, like I was saying earlier on, friends with benefits, and you've been friends with them before you met your. Huh?
What do you mean? Explain benefits.
Okay, so you want me to explain? Okay, so there are some people who are friends with male or female, and they will be there in your life to have sex. Yeah, okay. Maybe go out on dates. But ending at the end of the night, the benefit is we're not in a long-term relationship. You know, it's platonic-ish.
it's
but
not
you meet.
platonic. How can it be platonic and you're having sex with the
no.
person?
You see, some people. I'm going by what some people will say, and some people say it's only a platonic. But how? You're right. How can it be platonic if you're sexual? But then, from someone else's perspective, it's, you know, he's not going to ring you up and say, "Why was you out? You know, why are you this? Why are you that?" You're just friends, and that's it. But the benefit is that we're friends, you know, with no commitment to what a relationship should look like from being with someone, you know.
Right.
So if now that you get me to have to expand, so I think that if this is the case, that you met somebody, you are friends, and you are having sexual relationships with them, or relations with them, and you then now say, right, I'm getting into a relationship, or she says she's getting into a relationship, but you stay friends, and you introduce that person to your current girlfriend or boyfriend or husband or wife, I don't think you should have. That's my personal opinion, because they're not really just your friend.
No.
They were your lover. Yeah, they was your lover. And is it fair on that male or that female? Some people say, well, you don't need to say anything, you know, but the question does come out. Oh, where do you meet them? Where do you know them from? You know, and for some people who are insecure or not insecure, it's only right to say, you know, did you two, like, were you comfortable with one another? Did you have sex with one another? Because I know some people are straightforward and going to ask you, yeah, you know, oh, she's really friendly, or he's really friendly with you. Did you two, are you two being intimate? And then that's the part there on whether or not you tell the truth or you tell the lie, because then that question, that now can turn up on everything at the fact that you didn't say it from the beginning, and that the fact that you introduce them to your current partner, husband, wife, as my friend, and not as this is my ex-lover, but we're just, you know, we're just friends. That don't even sit right if you say it like that. Oh, by the way, this is my ex-lover, but we're just friends now, you know, and they're gonna come over to dinner. How would you feel? Come on, I like some feedback in the chat on.
Yeah, give us some feedback. What do you think so far? And please, please, please share with your followers, with your friends. Please share, because we're gonna go deep tonight. I can feel it. So in relation to what you actually said, I think that if you are in a new relationship with someone, let's not even get to the marriage scenario, because this person who you had sexual relations with, they would have been before your partner. But say, for instance, you now introduce that person to your current partner. I'm like, what is your reasoning? What is your motive? Because I tell you something, as a woman, oftentimes you pick up a vibe. Yeah, you pick up a vibe. Men do it as well. Men pick up the vibe. I know that you're quite intuitive. Pick up that vibe. That something, you know, there's something not right. There's something more to it. And sometimes it's not because there has been intimacy. There hasn't been no sexual relationship, but there might have been a mutual thing where both of you liked each other at some particular time. You could be picking that up. But what I don't like is when somebody might try to act like if to say you're losing your mind, like, you know, like what you're saying. Yeah, oh, it's just you. What's your problem? What's your problem? Is every woman that I speak to, no, they kind of chat. Every woman that I speak to, you're just gonna get upset. You're just insecure in it. No, there is something that I'm feeling that doesn't sit right. And the thing is, the man or the woman has the opportunity to say, do you know what? Me and that person are quite good friends. Yeah, we had a little something before, but that's done now. I'm with you. Yeah. And like you said, it doesn't sit right. But if that person asks you that question, just be honest, because now honesty is being bred in your relationship. It's such a good foundation, because now that man or that woman can now say, do you know what? That doesn't sit right with me. Because what did you say about catch fire, Paul? What did you say?
What do you mean? Old fire would easy to catch.
Old fire easy to catch.
Yeah. So for translation, for those that may not know, what that means is that an old flame is easy to light again. Yeah.
Absolutely. Your mouth is still moving, so I didn't even know if you finished.
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry. Stop.
absolutely. So the
Stop.
fact of the matter is because that person was once in your life, it's easier for you to go back to that person. It's easier for you to have the conversation with them when you're like, oh, do you know what? He's getting on my last nerve. She's getting on my last nerve. That person that is there, just because you've broken up with them, doesn't mean that they don't have feelings for you. Don't mean that, oftentimes when these people stay in your life, yeah, I'm not too sure about the reasons why they stay in your life. Like to me, your ex is your ex for a reason. Them still being in your life and you still giving them conversation, you being able to talk to them and bounce things off of them, especially your relationship when things are going crazy, that's asking for trouble. That's absolutely asking for trouble. I don't think that you should have this relationship with your ex-partner and be like, oh, this is just like my friend, my good long time old school best friend kind of thing. Best you don't say nothing. Best you don't say nothing, because that man or that woman is going to feel that insecurity, period. Go ahead, Debbie. Stop testing. What is it? Let me just
Teasing.
read this. Debbie, stop testing Maurice about his delay speech and mouth movement. No, I'm not testing, teasing. No, it's because his mouth is still moving, and I'm like, is he finished? I'm not too sure. Ronki says, my husband has many female friends and had them before meeting me. How he presented them to me made all the difference, and how they subsequently act towards me meant I never felt insecure. Absolutely.
Good. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And that's what it's about. That's what it's about.
Openness.
It's funny because for those on here that don't, obviously you'll not know, but Ronki is one of my best friends, and I've known her for many years. And so I was introduced to her husband, as my longtime friend, my best friend. I'm not the best friend anymore because the husband is, but wink, wink. We know the truth, Ronks. Yeah. And so, the fact remains that I know my place, and if I don't hear from Ronki, I'm not thinking, oh, but I was there first. She's married, and they come first. There's nothing between us. He doesn't feel insecure about me, and I don't feel insecure in my relationship, my friendship that I've had with Ronki for many years, because the open and the honesty is there, just like Ronki, she knows Catherine. Actually, she knows everybody that I've ever been with, within reason. Some she don't know, but anybody who's been in my life, as my girlfriend or as my wife, most of them she's met and she knows, so yeah, it is Ronks, what you're saying as well. It's how you present that person. If you feel the need to hide, then what are you hiding for? Stop.
Absolutely. I totally agree. There was another thing that we was asking. So you said about going on dates, yeah?
Yeah.
So ask you this question: as a man, do you have, female friends that you go on dates with?
Only the female friends that my wife knows.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I wouldn't go on a dinner date with somebody who she doesn't know. Before, back in the day, I would have said, I just do what I want to do, but I cannot just do what I want to do, because I can cause insecurities by my actions. I can cause her to feel less than, and I shouldn't do. She's supposed to feel that she's more important than everybody else,
Absolutely.
And I think I've made those mistakes along the way myself, where my friends are important to me, or that person over there is important to me, and I've said no, I'm going to go there. Yeah, but I want you to stay here. What do you want me to stay here for? I'm going to go. That's the wrong way. That's the wrong way round.
Mm-hmm.
I'm forever learning still. I'm still evolving as well, because some things are habit. Some things is, it's the way that you have lived. One of the things that I say is for a lot of, I say for men, let me talk from my perspective. As a man, when we're living when you're single, you live a single life to how you live the single life. You know, you go where you want, you come and go. I mean, I guess it's the same thing with women. But when you decide to be in a committed relationship, you can't be in a committed relationship and be a single man, have a single man's mentality, or you have a single woman's mentality. It's important that those things are laid to bed so that you can, if you're serious about a relationship, that is, you know, that it evolves, it grows, it flourishes, you know, and blossoms into something wonderful, not making your partner feel insignificant or less than. And stop.
Absolutely.
We got some comments, Debbie.
Yeah, I was going to read that out. Truly Hidden said, my ex-husband was adamant that his female friends were important part of his life. They'd been there before me, etc. But he did not invite not one of them to our wedding. And then she went on to say, I believe that if your female friends can't be our female friends, then they're not just a friend. Absolutely. So for me, this is really important. Truly Hidden. Yeah, I don't know your name, so I say Truly Hidden. What that argument to me is totally flawed when they say, you know, this person has been in my life before you. Yeah, that for me is totally flawed. So you're going to say that friendship is more important, yeah, than our relationship. That's how I view it. Maybe you can just say whatever you want to say, but for me, when somebody's saying, oh, they was there before me, yeah, and your point is now you're with me, this is our relationship and we're establishing our relationship, and so we have to see what works for us, not what just works for you, but what works for us. And if that doesn't work for us, then there's a problem. You also went on to say, you know, none of them came along to the wedding. Like for me, if they're invited along to the wedding and you didn't come, why not? You know, unless you got other arrangements, obviously. But yeah, if they're that person's friend, your partner's friend, they should be introduced to you as a friend. And if there is something that you're having at your house, that person is more than welcome to come along. But for me, it becomes a little bit suspicious when you've got friendships with them and your friendship and their friendship is just over here. You don't hear them having conversations with them, you know, nothing. It's just like all hidden, but they're your friends, you know. I'm a little bit suspicious with that. What do you say, Paul?
Yeah, let me just read this. Faye says there should be total transparency in all relationships. Entering into, if anyone is being secretive about other people in their lives, apart from theirs true, yeah, significant other, then that's a red flag. When you was talking, Truly Hidden said exactly us. Again, he didn't invite them, she said, you know, and I wanted them to come, you know. Hey, Shan. And that's the truth. You see, and a good prime example, you know, I said in the beginning, is about our experiences. Ronki being my best friend, I've now met her husband, and you know, we started let's just say platonic relationship. But I love that man. He's a good man. You know, he's funny, he's witty. Both of them came to our wedding when we abroad at that. You know, they took the time out of their life to come to our wedding. My wife and I, we went to their wedding. You know, me and the common ground is me and Ronki. Yeah. But if there was any hidden agenda, I'd be like, I ain't going to no wedding. Yeah, what am I going to go to a wedding for? You know, why are you inviting me and you're going to be marrying this man? Why are you inviting me abroad and you're marrying this woman? You know, complications happen like that, you know, or she comes and she's almost snarling at, you know, she's walking down, my wife's walking down and she's looking at her like, you know, or Alan's there and I'm thinking, what? Yeah, I didn't mean to say his name, but hey, sorry, Rox, habit, you know, but that's what I'm saying. You know, there's that freedom and the liberty of our friendship that we can be in each other's. I've been to Ronki and her husband's house on my own, and then he came in. You know, he's not thinking, oh, you know, yeah, or what's he doing here? You know, the freedom to be able to do that because the transparency was from the beginning.
Yeah, yeah, and
So,
I agree. It's establishing that before you even go down that route, because I think that when you enter into your marriage now, it's going to just cause continual problems. Even when you might think that that problem's gone, it will cause continual problems. And it's about that transparency. It's about that honesty. And I remember I had a good friend called Gary, actually. My husband's name's Gary. But I had a good friend called Gary. And this guy actually really, really liked me a lot. But we ended up having a platonic relationship. Didn't have anything with him. He was the coolest guy ever. He ended up like being my best friend. Like I could just chat to him about anything. And he really wanted to have a relationship with me. And I was just like, no. Then I got married. He was invited to my wedding. He didn't actually come along. And I was like, why didn't you come along to the wedding? He was like, oh, I found it really hard. And I was just like, oh, okay then. So during, you know, our friendship, I remember I was very honest with my previous husband. For some reason, Paul's just dropped off. I was very honest with him. There you go. Oh, were you just Paul? Oh, he must have gone to do something. So I was very honest. And I said, you know, this guy really likes me. But it was years, you know, we just became just good friends, and there was nothing between us. However, when I did tell my ex-husband this was like when we was in our dating period, he was just like, oh yeah, cool, you know. But then when we got married, he was just like, bun that relationship, innit? And I was kind of shocked. I was like, why are you saying that now? Like, you said that it was okay before, but now it's an issue. So yeah, he didn't want me to have anything to do with this guy, like nothing to do with him at all. And I remember at one point in time, like his number was in my phone and it just disappeared. And I was just like, okay, it is what it is. Was I happy about it? No, not entirely. I wasn't happy how he went about it, but because I was being very open and honest. And sometimes I really want to stress this. Sometimes in your openness and in your honesty, you're still not going to get the result that you want. Your partner, your husband or your wife can still say, okay, but this just doesn't sit well with me. And so you have to come to a place where you say, well, this relationship with my husband, with my wife, with my partner is more important to me than this relationship with this person. This is the person that I've chosen to be with as my life partner. So I now have been faced with a situation where I need to make a decision and I need to make a choice. Is that going to sit well with most people? Not really. Is some people going to feel like you're controlling them? Absolutely. But you have to recognize who is more important to you in the long run. And you know, there might not be no compromise, there might not be none, and this is what you have to look at and you have to address. And I think that sometimes people think, because I'm being open, because I'm being honest with my my significant other, then it should be okay. My husband, my wife, my partner should just like suck it up and be cool with it. You know what that is? What was that? That must have been you. That must have been you. What did you just do? It was music that just came on. But yeah, sometimes you just have to just say, right, it is what it is, and you just have to crack on with it. And it doesn't always, you're not always going to get what you want all the time. And I think that that's what is really important, that you and your partner, your significant other, that you recognize that you are a team and that you're working together on this relationship. And love, guys, there's a sacrifice that goes on there. There's things that you are going to want. There are things that you hold dear. There's things that you've always done your whole life, and you're going to have to switch that up. You're going to have to recognize that now it's not just about me, myself, and I, but now I've entered into a relationship, and this person is going to be with me for the rest of my life. And you know what, as well, I've come to realize is that, like, if you look closely, my hair is going grey. Yeah, I dye it, but it's going grey. Life is too short to be caught up with things like this. Yeah, when you're like, this is what I want, this is what I want, and it's just causing so much friction. It's good when you can step back, because sometimes, just sometimes, when you step back, that person realizes that you love them and you respect their wishes, and they might turn around and say, you know what, for my 50th, why don't you invite Beverly, or why don't you invite Peter? Why don't you invite them to come down, like on a special occasion? They might just do that because they haven't experienced that resistance from you. And oftentimes you're tested in that area to see whether, does this person mean so much to you? And you know, when you might hear someone say, oh, you care more about that person than me, it's not because they really truly believe that you care more about that person than them, but it's the way how that is making them feel. It's making them feel some kind of a way. Do you get what I mean? Where it feels like putting that relationship before them.
See, I think that, you know, we were saying about transparency earlier on. I think it something you said, and I use this analogy. I say that relationships, marriage is like a business. If you both own the business, which is your relationship, what you invest into it is what you're going to get back out. No investment, no return. You know, if one's just taken, the possibility of bankruptcy. You know, so it, you know, you just said life is, I use this analogy. I say life is long or short and you don't know which one you've got. You know, I just think that you just live the best that you can, you know. I know everybody, listen, I don't know anybody to ring me during this time because everybody knows what I'm doing at this time. It's funny. I quite, you know, it's the first time.
They're probably trying to get through to you, wondering what are you talking about. They're probably trying to find out what the link is. What is the link?
It was Stephen. The thing is, I just think that because I go with me. I was so insecure in relationships, you know, and a lot of it was where I was coming from, that the secrecy and catching the women is, you know, you're lying. But then, like you said, Debbie, I had to go back further than that. I had to go back to my childhood. Debbie and I are a product of being fostered back in the 70s. And do you remember what the Cohen girl done with me, Debbie? You know, we will cover it one day as well. I suffered sexual abuse at 7 years old from the girl there. But I never really related it back to there. I just, you know, living life and it's just me. I'm paranoid about this person, and because that girl lied to me, and because that done that, and because I caught that one out, that's where I went to, you know, because that's all I remembered as traumatic things in my life, you know, being rejected by people who you were into. But I realized that it was further back, you know, like what you were saying, Debbie. Sometimes you got to take you stop and you look as to why am I acting like this? Why is it that I feel like this? You know, majority of my relationships, I feel like this. Why? And to go back to 7 years old, that the girl did what she did and told me not to say anything, and then and just touching on slightly of a piece of it, she told her mum that I did this thing, that she was the instigator. So she broke I trusted her word. She's the instigator, she's older, she's telling me these things, I'm following. And so I realized that my distrust happened at 7 years old of any woman that was saying anything to me. And that's where I had to go back. And then I started to work on me. I would say since I've been married for 8 years now, since I've been in this marriage is where I've seen and understood so much more about me, you know, and why certain things trigger me in the way and the way that I act with those triggers. I come back, some from my childhood, some that, you know, growing up and not having my father in my life, my dad in my life, you know, God rest his soul. You know, all those things count. You know, that you're not taught certain things, you know, and transparency is a must. You know, but you're in the habit of lying and seeking and all this. You know that if you then say those things, the possibility of losing that man or that woman. But wouldn't it be better to lose that man and woman of being honest?
Yeah.
Stop.
Oh, stop. Expression did this. At the time, just before you started talking, Faye was saying that he was muted. Truly Hidden said, yes, just make things clear from the beginning. Give that person a chance to decide whether that friendship dynamic is something I
Yes.
want to tolerate and handle. And it's so true. I remember, I'm gonna share this with you because this is, it's a separate subject, but the principle still remains the same. So I remember many years ago, a friend of mine entered in a relationship with a guy, and for 2 years straight, he wanted to use a condom. And the reason why he wanted to use a condom was because he said that he has been stung in the past, and he said that he doesn't really trust women. He finds it really hard to trust women. So 2 years had gone by, their relationship had evolved. He now felt comfortable enough with this person that I knew to say, right, don't no longer want to wear the condom. And I remember her coming to me and saying, I've got a sexually transmitted disease, herpes. And, now this is where our relationship is evolving to. Should I tell him? I said, absolutely. And I said, the reason why you ought to tell him is because he will respect the fact that you've given him a choice rather than you taking away that choice. And I said to her, tell him, because ultimately, if you don't, he will find out. And she was just like, I don't want to lose the relationship. And I told her, you could lose the relationship if you do, and you can lose the relationship if you don't. Well, years had gone by, like another 3 years or so had gone by, and I get this telephone call, and the person says, crying down the phone, said, oh, I think the relationship's over, blah, blah, blah. Remember, that was my advice. Whether they took the advice is another thing. They didn't take the advice. Now this person has got herpes. Now this person is devastated, lost the trust in the relationship. Relationship broke down. After 9 years of being with this person, the relationship ceased because that man now could not trust this woman, couldn't trust her word, couldn't trust nothing about her. And the principle still remains the same. And it goes back to what Truly Hidden has said. It's giving that person a choice to make the decision. This is who you are. This is what you like. This is what you do. And now I have a decision on whether I'm going to remain with you or whether we are going to work through these things. Because sometimes people are so used to doing things. It's their default. This is who they've become. They find it really difficult to move from that person who they've become to the person who they need to be in their relationship. So a lot of times you might hear people saying in the relationship, this is who I am. This is who I've always been. Absolutely. But that's like my dear friend Karen Allen says, you're not a tree. Do you know what I mean? You can move. You can become bigger. You don't have to be stuck. You can make the decision that
Yeah.
I'm going to change, and I'm going to change for the better. And I'm going to change because this relationship is worth it. And that's what it boils down to. You have to look at
That's
what
right.
I actually want.
That's what.
Right. Do I want to be with this person? Do I want to be in this relationship? Do I want to make things work? And if you do, what are the things that you need to do to help and to assist and make sure that you're both fulfilling the desires of each other? Because otherwise you might as well be by yourself. If your desire is to satisfy yourself, then you might as well be by yourself. Being in a relationship with someone means that I'm going to give to you, and again, love is not necessarily reciprocal. Love is love. Love is self-sacrificing. Love is giving
Love
out of the
respected, man. You love respected of
heart.
if you're being loved back.
But people only love if they're going to be loved back most times, rather than coming from a place of love. Like I think it was last week when I shared in 1 Corinthians 13 about what love actually looks like. It's not self-seeking. It really isn't, And so I think it's important that that person is truthful and honest and transparent with you, so that you have the ability to make a decision. And ultimately, that decision that you make is that decision that you're going to say, right, regardless of how this seems, this is what I'm deciding to do. But I would say for anyone, if there is red flags in the beginning or even later on in the relationship, obviously before you get married, people can change and evolve even within your marriage, that you really understand that this person is probably this way now, but they can change. If they're willing to work on themselves, then give them the opportunity to work on themselves. But if they're acting like a tree, yeah, that's a bit of a red flag to me. When they're saying, this is who I am, not going to change, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
That's a bit of a
because
red flag for me.
I remember someone said that to me, that this is how
A lot of
how
people
I
do.
am, and it took me this long to be like this. What they were actually saying to me is that I'm not, well, that's why we're not together. Because if you're not willing to evolve, if you're not willing to if you're not willing to work on yourself, if you're not willing to accept that, what, you're not perfect, and this person, they're not perfect, even imperfections, but you see, in the imperfection, you can work at it to make it perfect for yourself, for yourselves in the relationship. It's working like this. That's why, if it's okay for you to have female friends that you've declared, let's use that word, you've declared to your partner, and there's nothing to hide, and it works like that, fine. If you still are uncomfortable with that, regardless of in them, that man or that woman has to, if you really truly want to be this person, kind of accept the fact, what, they don't want this person in my life, but the honesty enough to say to the person, well, I'm going to still talk to them, but I'm not going to do the things that I was doing before, the activities, or want them to come over for dinner and stuff like that, until you're comfortable, if you're ever comfortable. But the question still poses, why are you uncomfortable? If I've never had anything with that person, I remember when and I'll expose myself, I don't have no problem, I'm very transparent. When I met my wife now, I was saying to her, if you had anything with this person, I don't, or that they liked you like that, I don't want them around me. I don't want you to be friends with them. And I had to look at myself and ask myself why. Again, I went back and I understood why. Later on, I lightened. I wasn't as heavy anymore, because I realized that, yes, she knew these people before me. However, I won't have, and she knew this as well. I had a guy that rang up and he called her. Listen, he said, "Girl, you all right? Man, a long time I hear your voice now. Boy, it sounds sweet." Let's say he said that for the benefit, because he said something really made me uncomfortable. And I told him, I do not want you to be friends with him, because he's not calling just to see how you are, calling to see where you're at in your life. It's seeing if he can clamber in somewhere, if there's a back door. And if you allow, and this is what I do believe, if you allow someone to treat you or speak to you a particular way, while you're in a relationship, let's say relationship, say things like that. Hey, girl, you look how you're strong. Look how you're fit up now. Look, you just, and you allow her to talk like that, or a woman saying to a man, "Ooh," and she's got her hands, your chest is bigger than your arms now. Oh gosh, yeah, I remember when you were slim, but look at you now. Oh, and you allow that person to do that. Let's say they've done it in front of your significant other. It's a disrespect. Oh, no disrespect. I knew him when he was skinny, and look at him, oh, you got a good man there. No, that's a disrespect. And he needs to acknowledge that's a disrespect to your woman. She has to understand the same thing, that if there's vice versa, the same thing. You don't let a man or a woman speak to you like your partner would. Yeah. I don't believe that at all, and I stand by that. But like I did, I said I didn't want him around, and it was her choice. If she wanted to keep him around, I don't know if I would have stayed around, because I found it very disrespectful, knowing that he knew she now was married, and the sweet, it weren't that phone call, it weren't that phone call, and she told him, and he stopped ringing, as far as I know, and I believe her, otherwise I would have catch her already. Not really.
So Paul, are you saying, because going back to what you said a little while ago, are you saying if you're in a relationship with someone and the person feels insecure about the man or the woman, that person, even though you've said, you know, I don't feel comfortable about it, that person should be okay to still have that relationship with that person, as long as that person doesn't come to the house or, you know, involved in your surroundings, your circle.
As I said, if someone's comfortable with that, then you go ahead with that. But if you're not comfortable with that, you have to know why. You said you have to know why in yourself that you are. Something like is it yours truly? Yeah, truly hidden. Like truly hidden. Say if it's the case, then that they, and you said it, if you're acting different, you know, when this person rings, you need to leave the room to talk to this person. You know, oh, I'm just talking to Lisa. Yeah, carry on up. And no reason you should be able to freely in front of your significant other with no problems at all. So I'm saying, if you're comfortable with the person still seeing this person, you're not insecure about it, then go ahead. But if you are uncomfortable with it, then you have to address the issue. Two issues: address the fact, why do I feel like this, if they've not shown you anything like that. And the second is, you know, speaking it out to your partner. I feel uncomfortable about this for this reason, because there's going to be a reason.
So the other thing that I wanted to ask, like, was your decision making difficult because you now have a female friend who was there before your wife, who you still have a friendship with, and then your wife now has a male friend who she knew before you? Was that a difficult decision to make, or was it an easy one because that guy had liked her previously? Is that what it came down to, the fact that he liked her previously and he was talking to her the way that he was talking to her? Because some could look at that and think, oh, it was okay for you to have your female friend, but then when it's on the other side, it wasn't okay. But for me, I can see that there was possibly some other issues that made you come to that decision. Am I correct?
Yeah, there were other issues that
Right.
surrounding that as well, you know, and I'd have to go back to say, well, it was this and this and this, and that's why I was feeling the way that. One of the things with me is that I think I was a bit, because I'm analytical, I was too critical, which came with judgment.
Yeah.
So I judging, but I was judging on my past experience. I was judging on my own, you know, hurts. I was judging with some of my own experiences of what I did. Well, you know, if it's a man, he's got to be. Yeah. Because basically I was. And so, you know, sometimes I know that I was like that. But to you see, one of the things is acceptance. You have to accept that you, like, as a man, we can be secure. Yeah. It's not all this tough, hard, you know, I don't care. If she wants to go do that, I don't care. Yes, you do. You lie. You lie. You know, you care, because if you didn't care, then and same thing with some women as well. When say, I don't care what you do. Yes, you do. Yeah, and that, absolutely. We have to learn to use the right words now, because you care. I care, and this is why I'm upset. I care because, you know, I feel like this. Because I think once we're more transparent with our feelings and our words. See, the word nagging, you know, I had to come to an understanding. I don't think women nag. I think that they're bringing up an issue in itself, whether it's translated the right way. They're bringing up what's making them feel emotionally distraught. And so I don't see it as moaning. I see that I need to pick out.
Absolutely. I totally agree. And when it's not heard, they say it again. And when it's not heard, they say it again. And then that person sees it like all you're doing is nagging. But what it is that you're not actually hearing what they're saying in the first place. So they're reiterating it. And then it comes across as repetitive and really nagging. And you're getting on my last nerve, rather than looking at it and thinking, well, there must be something why that woman is saying what she's actually saying. Yeah. And that must be something really important and fundamental. Absolutely. And men as well. But what I wanted to say in the last few minutes, guys, put your thoughts and feelings in the chat. I just really wanted to say this. The thing is, in these relationships as well, there's like that tussle, isn't it? What's good for me is good for you. What's good for you is what's good for me. And it doesn't always work like that. in relationships. So you can have a good male friend, I can have a really good male friend, and it's very open and it's very transparent, and for the other person it isn't absolutely the same. And so you can't gauge it as the same. You can't, like, typically what somebody would say is, oh, but you've got your friends, you've got your male friend, I've got my female friend. But you have to look at the elements, you have to see what is actually happening within that, because not all relationships are the same. I can have a really good male friend who's really open, really transparent, it explained everything, and you can have your female friend who's not open, not transparent, don't really want to say hello to me, don't want to, engage with me in any way, shape or form. And it's like, well, you've got your male friend, I've got my female friend. It doesn't actually work like that. You have to look at each merit, you have to see what is working. But ultimately, most couples, if one's got a good friend and the other one's got a good friend, and it's just kind of like, well, this is what we're going to do, even if one person, like in your situation, Paul, where it came across like this man has got more skin in the game, he's like checking in. And the other thing I think is difficult and challenging, and we're going to definitely touch on this in the next coming weeks, is having friendships of the opposite sex and having conversations about your relationships with those people, and whether that's a thing that you should actually be doing. I think that it can be difficult, it can be challenging, and we're going to look at that from work perspective, work colleagues and people who you're around and so forth. We're going to be looking at that because I think that there's kind of like a little bit of a danger zone there that we can look at and how we can address that as well. But yeah, guys, put your last comments and so forth in the chat. We've just got a few more minutes. But what I wanted to say in terms of like going back to what you were saying in regards to childhood traumas, because that's what that was for you, was a childhood trauma. And it's actually looking and identifying, why do I feel like this in this relationship? How can I address it? And how can I deal with it so that it's not affecting and impacting me, and it's not impacting my relationship with my partner? Because sometimes we do things and it's quite spontaneous, it's quite, it's just what we do, but we don't look at the root of the problem. We don't look at why we feel insecure, why these things are challenging us. And I think that sometimes the issue can also be with us rather than our partner. And it's things to really just reflect upon, because sometimes there are things that are buried, that are deep rooted, and it needs to be addressed. And it's good if you've got someone who's willing to reflect and who's willing to address those things with you. If you can't, it's so important and imperative that you find somebody, a counselor, some kind of support that you can actually deal with those issues and those challenges that you're experiencing. So let me just read these final comments. Any comments, please put up. Truly Hidden said, I just feel women can be quite territorial in friendships with male friends, especially if they were there first. They feel they have the right to you regardless of whether you have a woman or not. What do you feel?
I think that's very true, but I also think that the male should be conscious of that, and say, you know what, I'm not gonna, you got your man, you can go to him tonight. No, we made the arrangements. No, it's all right. Yeah, go and spend, especially if you're spending more time with your friend than you are with your man. That hello, you don't you don't do that. So I think it's down to the man or the woman to tell that their friend, look, you know what, you're in a relationship now, we don't have to spend as much time together anymore. You're in a committed relationship. And even if he says no, you say, listen, that's why I'm your friend, because I'm going to tell you this, and I think it's the right thing to do, not just be territorial. Because men are as well. I tell you that now, we are as well, very much so. Maybe sometimes more than the woman as well.
I think if they respect you and they respect your relationship, then they should just back away. They should be the person that is saying to you, like, no, it's cool. Do you know what I mean? Do what you're doing. But I've heard people say, Like they're acting like their partner is the person with the issue. Oh, they knew that I wanted to do this with you, and then they go and plan that, you know, and that's not right. If he knew that I was going to be going out with you, why would he go and plan that? And it's like, well, maybe because he wanted to see whether you was actually going to, whether you was going to hook up with your friend and put your friend first. Do you get what I mean? And sometimes it's kind of that conflict, because it's like, well, why would you do that? You know, and this time the man is just feeling insecure, wants to see whether you're going to say, right, you know what, friend, we did say this, but he's actually booked something for us to go out. Like, I'm excited, kind of thing. And that person turns around and say, you know what? That's nice. That's nice of him. That's cool. Go ahead. Do what you're doing. Do you know what I mean? But it's working on those dynamics. Go ahead. Read the
last comment. My wife is on there as well. You know, I don't think this experience was with me. She's agreeing with Truly Hidden that she experienced women being quite territorial with male friends. You know, and hi Sonia as well, and hi baby. Nice to see you on here. That you got a moment. I just think that, like you said, it is something. Sorry, I'm reading the comment. I'm going from True. I think that
the immature one likes the drama.
Say again.
Truly Hidden said the immature ones like the drama.
Yeah, you're right about that. I think that. Yeah. Anyway, I go on to that. Yeah, you know, but thank you guys. You know, for engaging with us.
So Catherine said, yes, it was with you.
Me. Yes, it was you. Wow, exposure. No, but you know what? Catherine knows, you know, and I'll say it behind her back and in front of her, that I've grown. I will expose myself. You know, there's times I've said I felt insecure, and sometimes I will tell her, well, not sometimes, I'll tell her the reason why I feel insecure about something, you know, but I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, you're understanding me more now, baby. Yeah. Yes. You know, it's one of the things I wanted to say to all the women here, please invite if you've got a significant other, invite him onto this. Invite some men on here. It's nice that it's, you know, it's women. Sometimes I think we've had a couple of men, but I really do want men's perspective on this as well. Absolutely. You know, because some will agree with me and some will disagree with me.
Yeah,
you know, that there's a balance as well. So please do. I'm gonna read the last one out, Debbie.
Yeah. So Lydia said, I have so many male friends, so many male friends than women, and some of them will bring their partners to meet me before they make it official to go and meet their families. That's really nice, Lydia. And I think that there was a point in my life where I had more male friends than female friends, like bona fide. I'm saying, like, I've always had girlfriends, but a lot of them did chat and gossip and did all kind of foolishness, and I didn't really like it. But the male friends, I think that stemmed from me growing up with my two brothers, and they always had guys around the house, so I kind of understood them. And so I used to hang with a lot of male friends. Actually, I was like, back then we used to call it tomboy. We didn't call it he, she, kind of like, it was just, you know, wearing trousers and all of those kind of things, climbing trees and doing all that kind of craziness. But that was because I was brought up with my brothers. But I did find that a lot of their partners was kind of like cool with me. Like, they was just like, yeah, Debbie's like, they saw me like one of the guys, to be quite honest. They wasn't threatened by me at all. And I think it's good when you've got that relationship with men and they can introduce you to their partners, and, you know, you can do all of that together. I think that's phenomenal. And that's what I mean. If it works for you guys, then work it. Do you know what I mean? If it doesn't work, then look at the strategies and things that you can actually put in place so that it can actually work in your relationship. So guys, we've gone over time. And like I say, I try to keep it to the hour so that people will actually watch the videos. When it's too long, people don't really want to watch. But I hope that you guys have enjoyed it. That you've taken something away from it, that is causing you to reflect on your life and your relationships and everything, so that it will be more enriching. And I'll give you the final word, Paul. Go ahead.
I don't have a final word. I think that this is something that can be expanded on a little bit more, as well. I think it crosses over, like what we've been talking about as well. Away from this, but please, I think my final word is, keep it real. You could be in one. Someone here could still be. Oh, it said my internet. Can you still?
Yep.
Someone here could still be pure in themselves, in their relationship, broken somewhat. Please talk to your partner, talk, be real, but nothing to lose and everything to gain in yourself. That's my final word.
Right. So, guys, thanks once again for joining us. Please share the replay. It's the same link. You can actually just share that as a link with your friends and family and colleagues and just say to them, just click on it. It will actually be on the website, on the YouTube channel. Pretty much as soon as we finish this, it will upload it to the channel. And if you've been invited to join us today, we'll be sending you out the links again for the replay so that you can officially send it out to people
and subscribe as well.
And so forth. And
subscribe and share.
Yeah, absolutely. Subscribe, help our channel to grow. And we will catch you next week with another hot topic. And all the best to you. Have a phenomenal week, and we will catch you soon. Bye for now.
Thank you, Janet. Thank you, Alika. Is it 4WD? Thank you very much for joining as well, Catherine and Faye and everybody else on as well. Thank you so much. We really appreciate you. Look out for next week. Next week's going to be juicy. Yeah,
absolutely.
Take care.
Take care.
Right.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.